United States House would take action against a bigot, a racist in their midst. That's right. Late this afternoon, the House of Representatives voted 424-1 to condemn Iowa Republican Congressman Steve King for making racist comments in an interview with the New York Times last week. It was called a resolution of disapproval, and it included a denunciation of the white supremacist and white nationalist movements. Now, it passed 424-1. The one person voting against is Congressman Bobby Rush. He voted no because he felt it should have included censure. This follows last night, of course, where Kevin McCarthy, the Republican leader in the House, had a meeting with Steve King, and where he later said that the House Steering Committee, the Republican Steering Committee, voted unanimously to strip Steve King of all of his committee assignments, seriously reducing his power and his ability to raise money for his reelection, but also it impacts his home district. Now, Congressman King, longtime racist and xenophobe, whose comments about white supremacy, white nationalism, and Western civilization finally caught up with him. This is a guy who has been saying these things for a long time, but all of a sudden now Republicans are taking action. Quite hilarious, though, to see Steve King speaking on the House floor before the vote to condemn him.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the gentleman from Georgia for yielding me time to address this issue. I understand and recognize the gravity of this issue that's before us. I can hear it in the voice of the gentleman from Georgia. I can hear it from Mr. Clyburn. I can hear it from Mr. Nadler. And I know all of you, and I think I know all of you well. I thought you all knew me well. But I began to read this resolution, Madam Speaker, and I started with the first whereas. And I'm going to read it as it's here. Whereas on January 10th, 2019, Representative Steve King was quoted as asking, quote, white nationalists, white supremacists, Western civilization, there's a dash in there, a pause. How did that language become offensive, close quote. I understand how you interpreted my words when you read them this way. There is no tape for this interview that I did. It was 56 minutes long. There are some notes on the other end, but there is no tape. There's no way to go back and listen. But I can tell you this, that ideology never shows up in my head. I don't know how it could possibly come out of my mouth. So I'm going to tell you that the words are likely what I said, but I want to read it to you the way I believe I said it. And that's this.
I don't know how it could come out of my mouth. What the hell do you mean you don't know how it could come out of your mouth? It's been coming out of your mouth for years. Folks, last year, Steve King endorsed a white nationalist candidate running for mayor of Toronto, as in Toronto, Canada. That was last year. The guy has aligned himself with white nationalists in Europe. Press play.
I said it. And that's this. White nationalist, white supremacist, Western civilization. How did that language become offensive? Why did I sit in classes teaching me about the merits of our history and civilization? That's the end of the quote. Just to watch Western civilization become a derogatory term in political discourse today. That's what I believe happened. And it's 13 words, ironically, that's caused this firestorm. And again, I regret that we are in this place. I read all the rest of the resolutions that are here. Number 2, I reject the ideology. The statement's true, Mr. Clyburn. Number 3, same story. I reject the ideology that's noted in here, but your statement's true. As I read these so far down, number 4, number 5, all the way through all these resolutions, that are all the whereases that are here in this resolution, I agree with all of them. I agree.
I want y'all to imagine if I was a member of Congress. This is how I would have been behaving while Steve King was talking. He done? Oh, he not done? Okay. Y'all let me know when he done. Because all y'all hearing right now is a bunch of BS. Go ahead, press play.
With every word that you're putting in this, it's an honest and a direct resolution put together to address a subject that has been too long before the public dialogue in this country. And when I look down at the resolve, that's usually the meat of these, it says resolved that the House of Representatives once again rejects white nationalism and white supremacy as hateful expressions of intolerance that are contradictory to the values that define the people of the United States. Well, I agree with that. Just a couple of weeks ago, I stood on this floor with the Bible in my hand, and I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. That Bible wasn't just a regular Bible picked up somewhere. That was the shirt pocket size leather Bible that my great uncle John Richardson carried in his shirt pocket for 3 years in the Civil War. I come from a family of abolitionists. Maybe I would have some artifacts from his cousin.
Abolitionists.
I come from a family of abolitionists. Can I help y'all out with something? I have absolutely no recollection, nor can I find the evidence anywhere where Steve King has been an ardent supporter of civil rights. I have no evidence of Steve King standing up against voter suppression. I have no evidence of Steve King condemning other racist hate speech coming from other Republicans. I have no evidence whatsoever of Steve King giving a damn about black people. But he came from a family of abolitionists. Press play.
Been killed in that conflict. This means something to me. The abolitionism that goes clear back into my family, and they paid a price with their lives to make sure that all men and now all women are created equal and were endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. And those rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I absolutely believe in that. It is in my heart and my soul, and it's in my works. By their fruits you shall know them. But the New York Times has a different version of this.
Wow.
Let me go in my bag and get my apple. let me explain something to y'all. When somebody used the word fruits, you ever heard of bad fruit? Do y'all know what happens when you leave fruit out in the sun? It rots. This man ain't got no fruits. He has none of that. This is an apple. That's damn good. It ain't rotted. If this was a Steve King apple, this green apple will be black.
Ironically.
Yes, ironically. It will be rotten on the inside. Go ahead, play. He lying. Go ahead, press play.
They make a habit of attacking the president, as a matter of fact. And I look at this language that's here, this resolution that the House of Representatives once again rejects white nationalism and white supremacy and hateful expressions of intolerance that are contradictory to the values that define the people of the United States. I agree with that language I've said. But I would add to it the language that I used on this floor in this very place last Friday afternoon when I said I would strengthen it by adding my previous statements, which not only correctly rejects white nationalism and white supremacy as evil ideologies, but also condemn anyone that supports this evil and bigoted ideology that saw in its ultimate expression the systematic murder of 6 million innocent Jewish lives. That's where I stand. That's what I believe. So I want to compliment the gentleman from South Carolina for bringing this resolution.
Now see, let me remind y'all again, Steve King wants to stand there and he wants to add the killing of 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. It happened. But let me remind y'all again, that happened in Germany.
Yep.
Did you hear Steve King say a word about South Carolina, and Mississippi, and Alabama, and Georgia, and Texas, and Tennessee, and Florida, and Virginia? Did you hear him say anything about the Holocaust that took place on this soil? Did you hear Steve King talk about the Holocaust that continued after slavery? Mind y'all do know in August of this year, we'll commemorate the 400th anniversary of the first 20-odd people of African descent arriving in Virginia in August of 1619. Steve King didn't say jack about the black folks 92 years after the Great Compromise of 1877, who had to endure racism and bigotry. He didn't mention lynchings right there. He didn't mention any of that. He totally ignored that. And see, also, if you want to talk about the Holocaust in Germany, I got no issues with that. But you better bring up the Holocaust that took place in the Congo and the Holocaust that took place all over the African continent, when people said we're going to rule this continent, steal its riches, and destroy its people. Well, it's amazing how none of that got brought up by Steve King. I wonder why. Y'all go ahead and keep the line going.
So I want to compliment the gentleman from South Carolina for bringing this resolution. And I've carefully studied every word in this resolution. And even though I'd add some more that are stronger language, I agree with the language in it. So I want to ask my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, let's vote for this resolution. I'm putting up a yes on the board here because what you say here is right and it's true and it's just. And so is what I have stated here on the floor of the House of Representatives. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Now, I want y'all to go to my iPad, y'all. This is an article from Vox.com, October 18th, 2018. Steve King endorses a bona fide white supremacist for Toronto mayor. In the lead, it says Iowa Rep. Steve King has endorsed a candidate in the Toronto mayoral race. The candidate he's backing, a white genocide conspiracy theorist who was fired from a Canadian far-right website for appearing on a neo-Nazi podcast. This is what Steve King tweeted on October 16th. Faith Goldie, an excellent candidate for Toronto mayor, pro-rule of law, pro-make Canada safe again, pro-balanced budget, and best of all, pro-Western civilization and a fighter for our values. Faith Goldie will not be silenced. I'm saying all of that, y'all, because all you heard on that floor speech was a bunch of complete BS. You say judge you based upon your record and your fruits. Well, you have borne fruit from a poisonous tree. And you have poisoned the well of the U.S. House, which is why you now have Republicans who are calling on him to resign. Yesterday, Senator Mitt Romney of Utah said it is time for him to quit. Today, Congresswoman Liz Cheney of Wyoming, the third-ranking member of the GOP House leadership, says it's time for him to go. Even Congressman Mark Meadows of the extremely right-wing Republican Freedom Caucus condemn King. The reports that more Republicans are pressuring him to resign. All right, folks, back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment. A lot of us, of course, are focused on getting ourselves healthy and well in this new season, 2019. Some folks want to do it for weight. Some want to do it to improve their golf game, like yours truly. Others want to do it just to feel better as well. And so, how do we get better. How do we improve our health? Well, one of the ways is actually through a cleanse. And of course, the folks at D-Herbs Full Body Cleanse, they have partnered with us. I'm actually doing it right now. This is the third time I've done one of their cleanses. And you look at all the abuse that we do to our bodies, the food that we eat, processed food, fried foods, all of that. What this does is literally clean your system. All that toxic buildup that drags you down, that also can be dangerous for you later. This helps you feel better, also gives you more energy as well. Now, if you want to lose some of those stubborn pounds, you can do so through the full body cleanse. And so what I want you to do is go to dherbs.com, and use the promo code Roland. Yes, ROLAND for a discount when you check out. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.